Hi team, I hope you're all well. It is currently Monday the 4th of August and it is day one of Cliterature Readathon. I am still very much in this slump right now. I'm still in this hole trying to get my way out and it's not going well. I'm kind of hoping that Cliterature might be able to help me this week, but I'm not confident, I've got to be honest. So we're going to see how this goes. I think I'm going to start off this reading vlog with actually shopping my shelves. I haven't done this for a little while, so this will be like a shopping my shelves type-esque vlog. What I do with this is that this basket comes with me. I really should take the tag off of this basket. I've had it for years. This basket comes with me and I shop my shelves. I put books in it that are piquing my interest and then I use those as my pile of possibilities essentially for the week. So yeah, I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm actually going to try and lean into some graphic novels and manga where I can as well. I feel like the short bursts will really help me out here. Unfortunately, I don't have a great deal of novellas as far as romance is concerned. I did get quite a few new books on my Kindle recently though as well, so I will be shopping those too and coming up with a list from that as well. So without further ado, let's get straight into the shopping portion of this because I don't want this intro to be too long before we actually get into some actual reading. I'm also going to be doing sprints today. Today's like a full-on day of sprints and I slept terribly last night and I'm feeling very unwell. So entirely TMI, but you always come here for the TMI anyway. At least I hope you do anyway, or you stay for the TMI. My IBS is playing up like nobody's business and I feel horrendous. It's been 2.5 days. So I am struggling. I was up and down all night. Andy was tossing and turning all night. It was a nightmare. I had the worst night's sleep. So I've slept this morning until he's left for work. So it's currently 5 to 9. I did not get up with him at 5:30. I am hoping that I might be able to tomorrow. I'm actually at work tomorrow for my dad. So tomorrow on Wednesday, and then I will have Thursday at home. Andy's on a 4-dayer this week. So I'm hoping that maybe I'll be able to get up with Andy in the morning so that I can get a little bit of reading in before I go to work. We'll see what happens with that. It'll all depend on how I'm feeling and whether or not Andy's tossing and turning again all night. We'll see. But yeah, without further ado, let's go and shop my shelves, shall we? I do have a couple of books that I'm intrigued to pick up that went directly on my TBR. So I'm going to start with those and then we will shop the shelves. So let's get into this, shall we? Okay, I'm back. My basket is very full. I have many options. I don't know if I have maybe too many and now I will be in a situation where I've got too many options. But we'll see what happens here because I've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 written down from my Kindle as well. I do think I might know what I'm going to start with though. So let's see. So on my actual TBR, we have The Favourites by Lane Fargo. We've got A Business Proposal Volume 9. I actually might start with that. We'll see. And we also have Kill Switch by Penelope Douglas. In Pen We Trust, she never lets me down. And I managed to get through Hideaway pretty quickly. So this one could be a good one for sure. And then others that I have picked out, a graphic novel and another manga. I've got My Love Story with Yamada-kun at level 999. This is volume 5. I don't know if I'm up to that. I think I'm up to volume 3. I don't know why I've pulled volume 5 out. But regardless, I have many that I could get through. I've also got Chef's Kiss, which is a queer graphic novel about a chef. I think that there is a romance involved, so we'll see what happens with that. And then a couple of shorter books and then a couple of longer ones. So we've got The Wedding Witch by Erin Sterling. I haven't read this yet. And today is feeling very cozy autumnal vibe-esque. So that might be cool for today. I also have Dom and Becca by Willow Winters. This has been on my TBR for so long and I have a handful of these other novellas, if you like. It's not that long, so I do have a few of these. If I like her writing style and I enjoy it enough, maybe I could binge my way through a couple of these, less than 250 pages. I have got Rootbound by Tara Jewett. I've enjoyed a book by Tara Jewett before, and I have a couple of others on my Kindle, but this is the shorter one that I've got of all of them. I've had this for a while. I do have an Elsie Silver here with Wild Side. It's not on the short side. However, it is Elsie Silver. She's generally always a win for me. And then last but by no means least, I've got Well Actually by Maisie Edens, which is a new book that actually doesn't come out till tomorrow officially, but I got this a couple of days ago, so I am intrigued about reading this one for sure. So that is the stack of physical books that I've pulled off of my TBR. You can just see the top of Well Met there, my apologies. And then the books on my Kindle that I've written down that I'm intrigued about: Made for Each Other by Lynn Painter. This one is also a new release. Not Safe for Work by Nisha J. Tooley. I wanted to read this while I was in Egypt, and I do still really want to read it. My Big Fat Fake Marriage by Charlotte Stein. Sounds fun. Among the Heather, by Samantha Young. I started this series a couple of years ago in Scotland, and I've since started another series by Samantha, so I would like to make some progress in at least one of those series. And Among the Heather is shorter than A Royal Mile. So they're both book 2 in a series, but Among the Heather is shorter. Ready or Not by Cara Bastone. I also have the second one that she's done. Make Me a Promise or something? I also have that one as an option. Dungeons and Drama by Christy Boyce. That could be fun, and it's short, so maybe that could be a fun time. And then Cubs and Campfires by Dylan Drakes. I might start with this one or A Business Proposal, but either way I might go on to this one after A Business Proposal. It's only 6 hours and 38 minutes on audio, so I feel like it could be a fun time. It's a cozy summer romance with low angst and high heat. So, and the cover for this are stunning. I'm obsessed. So yeah, I think I will start actually for a quick sense of achievement. Oh, something else I also need to put on here, because I'm partway through it, is Thorns and Fire. I would like to finish this off. I started it last week. I'm 136 pages in, so I would like to finish that as well this week, potentially. And I'm also partway through, I'm also partway through Dream On by Jennifer Hartman. I'd like to finish that maybe as well. It is an arc. It doesn't come out until the 12th of August, so we'll see. But I think I will start with this for a quick sense of achievement. It is volume 9 in the series, so I can't tell you anything that's going on in here. But essentially, we follow Taemu, Kang, and we also follow Harry. And in the first one, Harry's best friend is being forced to go on these blind dates by her father because he needs her to marry so that someone can take over his company. And she's been put on a blind date with Taemu. Now, neither of them know that this is a thing. However, her best friend convinces Harry to go in her place and just kind of like ruin the date. Like, her best friend is completely overgoing on these dates. The only problem with this is that Taemu is also getting it in the neck from his grandfather about marrying, and he's made the decision that whoever is on this date, he's just going to marry them. Now, Harry suddenly realizes that she's now on a date with the CEO of her company. He doesn't recognize her. But we then find ourselves in this situation where they're continuing to end up dating, and she starts to fall for him, and the reverse is also happening, but you know, she's still undercover, if you like. So it's a fun time. I really enjoy it. I loved season 1 of the K-drama. It was very good. So yeah, I think I'm going to do that, and then I'll jump into Cubs and Campfires. I'll give that a go. I think it could be a case this week of me having to try the first chapter of something of many books before something sticks. So I won't give you the synopsis of anything until I'm deep in it, so that I know that I'm hopefully finishing it. It does say at the bottom though, Cubs and Campfires is a sweet and spicy romance about chunky men, cozy woods, and cuddles under the starlight. I just love the cover. So yeah, that's what I'm going to start off with. So let's go. Okay, hello. It's currently 2:15 and I'm here with a couple of reading updates for you. I've actually managed to finish something which is very exciting for me. A Business Proposal Volume 9, I have finished. I have given this one 4.5 stars. It was good. We have gotten to a point though where it's not just Harry and Temu's relationship anymore. We've also got her best friend in here with her relationship. And now it looks like we may be bleeding into another relationship as well, which I'm not mad about, but something that's happening within that I'm not overly keen on. But I'm still intrigued nonetheless. I'm very intrigued to get my hands on volume 10, which comes out later on this month. So looking forward to that. But yeah, 4.5 stars for this one. I've actually finished a book in a day, which is very exciting. I managed to finish it in 2 35-minute sprints, which is great. And then I have moved on to Kill Switch by Penelope Douglas. I know I mentioned I was going to do Cubs and Campfire, but I actually decided to listen to a preview of multiple books before I made a decision on what to do. So I listened to the audiobook preview for Cubs and Campfire. It sounds great. I think I will really enjoy it when I come to it, but I don't know if I'm in the right headspace right now for it. So I decided not to pick that one up. Then I tried the audiobook for Made for Each Other, I think it's called, by Lynn Painter, her new release. Decided I wasn't really in the mood for that, although Teddy Hamilton is a narrator on that book. But I know now that one of my patrons, Chloe, she's picked it up and she's not loving it, which is a shame. So it's feeling very insta-lovey, which I'm definitely not in the mood for right now. I think I'm very much so in the mood for like slow burn if it's not going to be a novella or like a shorter story. So I tried the audiobook for that, wasn't a huge fan. Tried the audiobook for The Favourites by Lane Fargo. I definitely think that that's a 5-star prediction for me, and I think I'm going to love it. But I'm concerned that my slump could cause me problems with that. So I want to be more out of my slump, more back on track with things before I pick that one up to give it 100% a fair chance. And then I tried the audiobook for Dungeons and Drama. It sounds fun. Again, though, want to be able to give that a bit more of a fair chance. And I tried the audiobook for something else as well, but I can't remember what it was. And I was going to try the audiobook for Well Actually by Maisie Eddins, but it doesn't come out till tomorrow, so maybe later on in the week for that one. But I did make the decision to pick up Kill Switch by Penelope Douglas. I'm familiar with the characters. I'm familiar with what's going on in this series. It's something that I'm already very familiar with and is already in the back of my mind because I recently finished Hideaway. So although this isn't a short book and although the audiobook is 17 hours and it could take me all week to get through, I am familiar with everything that's going on in here, except for Willow, RFMC. I'm sure this is the first time I'm hearing of her, but I don't know. So this one is following Damon, who is the main male character throughout the Devil's Night series that I have been least intrigued to read about until I finished Hideaway. And then I was more excited to get to his story, albeit I'm feeling a little bit uncomfortable with his story because there's only so much I can tell you, but if you know, you know, but there is some stuff that he's gone through in his younger life that has helped mold him into the person he is today, which is an absolute bastard, I will say. He is probably out of all of them, I think, until I get to Will, probably out of all of them, I think he is the biggest asshole. I could be entirely wrong on that, but I'm intrigued to find out where this is going with Willow, RFMC. It looks like they've got a history and a past, but I can't figure out for the life of me what's gone on with them. I've just figured out something about Willow, which I wasn't anticipating, but I can't for the life of me figure out what's gone on between them, and I'm concerned with where this is going. Because of what we've been given so far. Naturally, you are given like the worst information to start off with, and then it all becomes clear what's gone on. And I don't know if it's going to be as bad as I think it's going to be. It could be worse. Who knows? But so far it's interesting, and I'm 90 pages in. It's not taking me too long to get to that point. I am finding myself quite distracted. Going to continue on with this until I don't want to anymore, at which point I think I may then switch up and go back to Thorns and Fire, and potentially by, Thursday evening, maybe I can have both of those books finished. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm hoping that by the end of the week, maybe I can have both of them finished. It would be really nice to get through a couple of my current reads that I'm already started, and then I think my nighttime read, I want to get back into nighttime reading, like reading when I go to bed instead of watching YouTube. I think I might try and go back to Dream On by Jennifer Hartman, which is the arc I have. So yeah, I think that it'll be my goal, I may even, with this, if I get to a point where I'm finding myself distracted and wanting to put the telly on, I might pick up a manga instead. I do have quite a few romance mangas that I could pick up. A lot of them are starting series, which is why I've been avoiding doing it, but I might pick up some manga instead and then just break up the monotony of listening to this repeatedly. Maybe. We'll see. Although every single time I think about potentially putting the telly on, something happens and I'm like, no, we're here. We're back. So, yeah, we'll see. Somebody else did mention to me about potentially picking up, they're reading The Bridge Kingdom, and I was like, oh, that's something I could reread, actually, because I really have been in the mood to get onto Traitor's Queen, but it was years ago that I read The Bridge Kingdom, so maybe a reread of that could be interesting. We're going to see how the week goes. I think my main goals right now are Kill Switch and Thorns and Fire, and maybe some manga in between, but we'll see what happens with that. I did also fish out A Very Secret Society of Regular Witches by Sangu Mandana. I read this when it came out and absolutely loved it. 2022. And absolutely loved it. But the next one, I don't know if it's necessarily the next one in this series, but the next one has now come out. A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping, and I really want to read it, but I've ordered the Ferryloot edition, so it's going to be a couple months before I get that one. So maybe in the meantime I could reread this and it could tie me over. Maybe I could annotate it, but we'll see. I don't know. I have pulled this out just in case, so I have the Ferryloot edition of this too, but this is the American paperback, and I have just ordered the American paperback of the next one from Books Please, so I might pick that up when that comes in. I don't know when it'll come in, but I might pick that up. We'll see. Good thing, this is on my August TBR. This is also on my August TBR. So far, that's going all right, and I can't make any complaints there, which is great. This also has a novella after it too, so that will break things up a little bit. I could pick that up before I move into Nightfall. Yeah, and then there's a novella after Nightfall as well. But yeah, just wanted to come on and give you an update. I am reading actively, which is great news. I don't feel like I'm out of my slump. I am wanting to be distracted. I am wanting to watch the telly instead. So we'll have to see how that goes for the rest of the week. I am truly hoping that I can get out of this slump by the end of the week, because I'm actually sick of it. I'm sick of myself. I'm sick of the slump. I'm sick of wanting to pick big books up but just not being able to, so it would be really nice to get back on track with stuff. So we'll see how that goes, but I'm just going to do my best to not beat myself up this week. We'll see how that goes. I'm going to go anyway because I've got 6 minutes until Patreon sprints start, so I'm going to get myself set up for those, and I will check back in with you on another update for you. Hello, it is Wednesday. I forgot what day it was. It's Wednesday, and it's currently 7:35 in the morning. I've been awake since 5:30. I had to wake Andy up this morning. I don't think he slept very well last night. So I've been awake since 5:30, and honestly, I have been sat in bed, doom scrolling. I debated whether or not to try and go back to sleep for a little bit longer, but in the end, I just got up because I knew it would make me feel worse if I didn't. So I've just gotten up and got ready for the day. I'm back at my brother's again today for work. Yesterday, ended up taking a bit of a turn I wasn't expecting for the good, which is great. But it is the summer holidays. My sister-in-law works part-time. She works Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Saturday mornings. And my nephew is still at nursery, but Thomas is off school. Matt works full-time, but he works from home. So childcare is slightly scarce, so on occasion during the summer holidays, just to help my brother out and so that he can actually get work done, because he does work that runs the company. I do admin work and that does help run the company, but it's not enough to keep me going. I just continue to do this job because it's a regular paycheck that comes in all honesty. So I end up helping out during the summer to keep my eye on Thomas while he's off school. Actually, this is the first year, so because obviously he was at nursery last year. I use some of my time that I'm in work to keep my eye on Thomas and just make sure that he's all right, not getting too bored, and he's not mothering his dad constantly because his dad needs to work. So yesterday, my mum ended up coming round and she was going to take Thomas out to go to this farm where he could feed some llamas and see some cows and feed some ducks and stuff like that. And Matt asked if I would go with them. So I did, which was really nice, to be honest. It was nice to spend a little bit of time with Thomas, spend some time with my mum as well. So that was lush. Today, though, will be a work day. He's going to one of Tara's friends this morning. He's going to go and make some cupcakes at hers, which is lovely. And then he will be back in the afternoon. So I'll keep an eye on him in the afternoon. But otherwise, this morning, it will be a work day. But yeah, it was really nice. We were hoping to go into the cafe while we were there. Mum had promised him some cake. So we were hoping to go to the cafe while we were there, but they were like, oh yeah, we don't do like coffee and cake time until 3:00. They close at 3:30, which was really bizarre. So anyway, we got back in the car, had a little think on what to do, and I said to them, I know there's a garden centre around the corner, I'm fairly certain there's a cafe in there. So we went. Thomas had the time of his life. He thought it was fantastic. So while I was there, I ended up getting a couple of fall decorations. So I did get this little sign. Thomas saw it and then immediately needed one. And the same thing with this. So he got those for his mum. And he also got his brother this little set. There was a works in there. And he got his brother this little set that has like a drum in it and some clackers and things that make noise. Matt's buzzing about it. But he was like, Auntie Steph, pretty please can you get me this? I want to get it for Luca. And I was like, well, look, you've got £10 spending money with Grandma. Do you want to get that? And I'll get you little decor bits for Mummy and Daddy. And he was like, yeah, okay. So he got this little set. It's a bluey set, but it's got like a drum kit in it and some other stuff that makes it in. So Matt was buzzing about that. But it was really cute. He was like, I want to get it for Luca. I was like, okay, no worries. And then in the works, I did end up picking this book. It's a Dungeon Academy, No Humans Allowed. And it's, I seem to be in my RPG, top table RPG. Yeah, RPG/D&D era, despite the fact that I play neither of those things. I don't know if they're the same thing. I know nothing about D&D or top table RPGs or RPGs in general. I know nothing. I'm not much of a gamer. And I would say that when I am, it's more cozy gaming. So anyway, I saw this, recognized the illustration immediately. It's Tim Probert, who does the Lightfall series that I absolutely love. So it's him, and it is a book, but it's like heavily illustrated in areas. So yeah, I did notice after I bought it. I mean, it only cost me £2, so I'm not bothered. But I did notice after I bought it, some kids got in with a highlighter. But I thought that it might be a fun read. I can't remember if I already have something like this on my wish list though. But anyway, I thought it might be a fun read maybe while I seem to be in this era right now. Like with, Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint last week. I enjoyed that. I'm really back in the Adventure Zone era and also in my Dungeon Crawler Carl era. So maybe this could be a good shout. But I thought it might be a fun read. And Thomas really likes the look of it as well, because obviously it will end up on his shelf once I'm finished with it. So I did pick that up as well. £2, absolute bargain, can't complain. Neither of us were bothered about the highlighter in there anyway. So better give you an update on reading. That's what I'm here for. So I did start Kill Switch by Penelope Douglas. I can't remember if I told you that I started this or not, but it's book 3 in the Devil's Night series. And in this one, we're following Damon, who I right now, I think is the darkest out of the 4 guys from the Devil's Night series. It follows a group of 4 guys who make up this group, the Horsemen, if you like. And Damon, in my personal opinion, is the worst one, but Will seems to be a bit of a dark horse, and his book is the last. So I reckon that his will inevitably end up being the worst. But right now, I think Damon's the worst. So I started this and I got to page 118. And what happened was, this is incredibly dark. Now, I know this series is dark romance. I already know that. Penelope Douglas does dark forbidden romance really, really well, but this series is very dark, and we've gotten to a point where it's become incredibly dark, especially in this one, because of the content of what's going on, both with Damon and what appears to now be going on with Winter as well, who is the FMC in this book, and their past. Some stuff has now been revealed to me at this point, and I got uncomfortable very quickly. Now, I don't think my mental state of my slump is helping me right now, and I have made the decision to put this down right now. I will absolutely be coming back to it, and I will finish it. I'm sure I will. But it very quickly made me uncomfortable because I had a couple of different options of where this was going to go. And I was like, okay, if it goes in, I can't say too much without spoiling it. If it goes in this direction, I'll be all right. But if it goes in this direction, I know that my mental state is not in the right headspace for that right now, and I will need to put this down. So I had to Google it, unfortunately, while I was on sprints, and I asked if anyone had read it and could I message them and confer something with them. Nobody had read this. So I needed to do a quick Google on it. I have spoiled myself a little bit for some of what's going to come up in this book, but not too much. But it was going in the other direction that I knew would not do me any good right now. So I've made the decision right now to protect my mental peace. This would do one of 2 things to me. Either it would get me out of the slump entirely and I will be all fixed and everything will be hunky-dory, except for the fact that I will be a mess because of this book. Or it will make things 10 times worse for me. It will make my slump worse. It will make my mental state worse significantly. And I can't take the risk. So I've made the decision to put this down for now. I will be coming back to it. It is getting incredibly dark. I looked at the trigger warnings and I was like, absolutely not. There was like, even outside, if you know, you know, but even outside of the actual triggers of the stuff that both Damon and Winter are going through within this book, there is one other trigger in this that I saw on the list and I was like, there's absolutely no fucking way right now. Even if that was the only trigger, there's no fucking way right now that I could do that. So yeah, there was a moment where I panicked and I was like, I think I need to put this down. So there's just nothing I can say without spoiling. So for my own mental sake, right now I'm putting this down and I will come back to it. I haven't read much else. I managed a business proposal on Monday. It is now Wednesday morning. I haven't finished anything else. I haven't started anything else since I decided to put Kill Switch down on Monday afternoon. This kind of fucked me up. You know when you get, is this a general thing? I sometimes don't know if it's a general thing or an ADHD thing, but what happens is I set a plan for myself in the morning and I'm like, okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to edit this morning. I'm going to film, I'm going to edit, and then I'm going to read this book this afternoon. And then if one of those things doesn't work out for me, like the other day, I had a whole bunch of editing to do and I was like, okay, today's going to be an editing day. That is it. I'm not reading right now. Let's make this an editing day. And then it turned out that I couldn't export anything on my computer because I was sprinting and my computer can't deal with those 2 things at once. It fucked my whole day up. There was literally nothing else on the planet that I could have done except for the entire to-do list that I had to do, that I need to make my way through. There was nothing else that I could do with my day. I literally couldn't move on to anything else because that had been my plan. I couldn't change that plan now. I'd committed to the bit. So I fucked around on my phone for the rest of the day and did fuck all else. So a similar thing happened on Monday. I was like, okay, I'm going to read a business proposal. And then I committed to the bit with this. And I was like, yes, let's read this. And then I got 118 pages in. And then I did about 4 more sprints and did fuck all. I read the first page / first chapter of about 7 or 8 different books. And I couldn't. My entire day was ruined because I decided to put this down. So I didn't do anything else. Yesterday, obviously, as I've said, I was at work at my brother's. Last night, though, I did make the decision to go to bed and put my phone immediately on charge so I didn't doom scroll. And I did decide to pick back up Dream On by Jennifer Hartman. I've got to make my way through this arc, and I was really enjoying it when I started it last week. So I was at 12%, I'm now at 23%, so I managed to read, no, I was at 14%, sorry. I'm now at 23%, so I managed to read 9% of that last night. I'm up to chapter 12. And this one, just to give you a recap of what it's about, because I mentioned it briefly, I think, in last week's vlog. This one is following Lex, and it's also following Stevie. So it is classed as a YA, but I don't know if it's classed as a YA because it starts off following them in high school, and then I think we then come back to them many years later when they're adults, and I think that's the reason why it's YA. I don't know how like smutty or anything this is going to be, or if it's going to be a pretty clean romance, I'm not sure. But it's a slow burn, I think, and it's spanning over a handful of years, if I remember correctly. Both of them are aspiring actors, but at different stages in their lives. Stevie comes from a kind of middle class, I don't even know if they're classed as middle class family, to be honest. Maybe a bit lower than middle class. They struggle regularly. They're living paycheck to paycheck, and they live on a farm. They run a farm. Her sister and her parents, they have some stuff that's going on in the background with something that's happened to them. I don't know how recently, but I've recently found out what that thing was. And then she is an aspiring actress. And then we've got Lexington, who comes from a well-to-do family. His dad is like a top lawyer. His mum is an actress, or she was an actress, and he has been a child actor. And now he's wanted to get out of this. I don't think he particularly loves it. I think he loves the acting side of it. I don't think he loves the way he's treated in Hollywood. And I do fear that this could do a deep dive into how Hollywood treats child actors, and I'm a little bit nervous about where that's going to go, because I am quite aware of how child actors can be treated in Hollywood, and it's not good. It's very, very bad, actually. So a bit nervous about where this is going on that front. But Lexington has made the decision to get out of Hollywood. They've come to this smaller town, and he wants to go to a normal school and just be a normal kid for a little bit. His parents are not fucking happy about it. His dad is brutal, and him and his mum absolutely should not be with him anymore. And yeah, it's definitely got, I would check your triggers for this. It's definitely got domestic abuse in here. I am concerned about potential like sexual assault, things like that. It has grief and things to do with grief. Just check your triggers, please, before you pick this up. It is Jennifer Hartman, so it's going to be incredibly hard hitting. I don't want to spoil anything because I wasn't fully aware of where Stevie's situation was going. But yeah, and so far I'm loving the writing style. I forget how gripping Jennifer Hartman's writing style can be and how addictive it can be. I always forget, and I don't know why I forget. I shouldn't forget, because Still Beating is one of my all-time favourite books. But I'm loving this so far, having a very good time with it. They're in high school at the moment. Lex has just had his birthday, so he's just turned 18. Stephen must be 17, I think. It's so weird to me because in the UK you finish high school at 16. So yeah, they are both in theatre, obviously, at school, and they've both been picked to do the leads for Moulin Rouge, which is so bizarre to me because I'm very, very, very familiar with Moulin Rouge, the movie, because it's Andy's favourite movie of all time. So I'm incredibly familiar. There was literally a chapter that started before from Stevie that said, "Come what may," and it's a song that Andy really wants to put in the wedding somewhere. And I've just no idea where to put it because it's quite a long song. I do enjoy the song, to be fair, but it is quite a long song and I've no idea where to put it. So yeah, anyway, very familiar with Moulin Rouge, and they're the leads in this play, but we've got this like back and forth between them. Like, I don't know if Lex is trying to protect her from what's going on in his life. He's clearly got some issues with like physical touch with people and things like that, and he's trying to overcome those things. There's just a lot going on, and I haven't fully figured out exactly what that is, and I have a feeling that what's going to happen is we're going to, as the reader, be left in the dark for a really long time until they come together again as adults. I don't know what the actual synopsis of this book is at all. I feel like I've read a very similar synopsis for another book recently, and I'm getting the two mixed up. So I don't want to get it wrong and tell you a different synopsis. This does come out on the 12th of August. So Lexington Hall and I were never supposed to collide. He's the golden boy of Hollywood, and me, a small town dreamer with stars in my eyes. But when we share the stage in our high school musical, something ignited. Then, just as quickly, it fell apart, leaving my dreams in pieces. Now, 4 years later, Lex is a household name, turning our past into a television sensation. This was the synopsis I read. He spun our story for the world to see while I'm still haunted by what we lost. With millions obsessed with the real Stevie St. James, Lex reappears with an offer too tempting to turn down, a fake romance to keep the buzz alive in exchange for the financial freedom I desperately need. I convince myself I can play the part, but as old feelings resurface and new risks emerge, the line between fiction and reality begins to blur. Dreams are easy to chase, but falling for the guy who shattered mine could cost me everything. So I'm interested to see where this goes. I do feel like Lex can be quite brutal at times. This all started with a car accident between the two of them. She was stopped at a red light and he went into the back of her. And he completely blamed her for it. He was like, well, you should have been moving. She's like, it was a fucking red light. What is wrong with you? But he was a dick about the whole thing. And then it turned out he was the new guy at school, naturally. And then he becomes like her on-stage partner. So yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. I'm having a good time. So I'm hoping to make more progress in that this week. I'm hoping to actually finish that this week. I have no idea what else to move on to. Somebody actually recommended to me 9 Month Contract by Amy Dawes. And I was going to listen to that last week because the audiobook, Teddy Hamilton is the MMC in the audiobook, and it's duet narration as well. And it sounds like a really funny, fun time, like a rom-com. And I feel like maybe that's what I need. So I have been umming and ahhing about that, and I ummed and ahed really hard about it on Monday and then just couldn't commit to it. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Tomorrow I am here for the day. So I will be working tomorrow for myself. I've got a video I need to edit for Sunday. Well, actually, I need to film it. I've not even filmed it. Film and edit for Sunday. So I'm hoping to maybe get some reading done tomorrow. I'm also still partway through Thorns and Fire, and I would really love to finish that as well. But we'll see what happens. So I don't know. Maybe I'll pick up 9 Month Contract. Maybe I won't. Somebody actually specifically recommended it to me, though, yesterday on a video. So maybe that could be a good shout, because I have been thinking about it for like the last 2 weeks or so. So maybe it could be a good shout. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I had a lot to update you on there because I haven't spoken to you since Monday afternoon. So my apologies. This ended up being a really long clip. But yeah, I'm going to go. I need to film a clip for my August Spend the Month With Me content creation video that's coming up. Surprise. I need to film a clip for that. I want to eat some breakfast because I'm Hank Marvin, and I might try and do a little bit of reading before I leave the house because it's only like 5 to 8 and I don't plan on leaving the house till about 9:15, so I've got well over an hour. So I might do that. Maybe I might try and get an hour in. Let's see what happens, shall we? Hello, I'm back again. Gonna try and keep this short after this morning. 3:52, yes. I'm home earlier from work than I was anticipating. It's Wednesday, and Matt usually picks Thomas up from school. Obviously, it's school holidays. Matt usually picks Thomas up from school, and then they go to the pub for Thomas's tea before they go and get Luca from nursery. And my dad has started joining them. So they've ended up going a little bit earlier today because Thomas is off school. So they went to the pub and they're going to discuss cars and all of that boring stuff. So I made the decision to just finish work early and come home. So that's what happened. This morning I did read for an hour. It was an absolutely resounding success. I was on 23% and I'm now on 34% chapter 19, and I'm like super getting into this book now. We've just gotten into what they've called the second act, so they're doing it in acts. Naturally it makes sense because it's actors and plays and all of that stuff. We've just gotten into the second act 4 years later, and I'm so intrigued as to what's going to happen next, because that last act 4 years ago ended in a way that I wasn't anticipating. I did wonder how we got to a point where these two stopped talking. I wasn't anticipating the thing that happened to happen. So it went really, really well, and I'm very excited to now settle down and maybe get a couple of hours of reading in for this evening. This book, Dream On by Jennifer Hartman, could be, I don't know if maybe the title's taking the piss out of me and being like, bitch, dream on, or if this could be my comeback, if this book could be the book that could bring me back to my reading, because I'm excited. I've been excited all day. I'm even more excited at the fact that I was able to finish work early so that I could come home and read, because this morning after I'd done that hour, I had to then pack my stuff up and get ready and go to work. And I just didn't want to. I wanted to stay home all day and read. So this could be the book that brings me back. This could fix me. It could break me, but it could fix me at the same time. And I'm really excited about that situation. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to get some reading in. I think I'm going to put a timer on the telly. I've made the decision to do sprints tomorrow with patrons throughout the day because I'm feeling so positive today about my reading, and I'm really hoping this sticks. I'm going to be so gutted if tomorrow I don't feel the same way, but I'm really hoping that this sticks. And I think what I need to do is gamify my reading. So Becca does this thing where she does roll the dice, like dice sprints with her patrons, where she'll roll the dice pretty much like Bookopoly. But she'll roll the dice, and however many dots are on represent 5 minutes. So if she gets like 6 dots, she does a 30-minute sprint. If she gets 12 dots, she does a 60-minute sprint. I don't know, math is hard, okay? Regardless, however many dots are on, count for 5 minutes, and she just adds them up. If she rolls a double, you have to switch your book. So I think I need to gamify my reading tomorrow with patrons. So what I've made the decision to do is whack a bunch of different times on a spinner wheel twice, because I've gone from 35 minutes up to an hour, but also whack on like a swap a book. I'm debating whether or not, because I really need to start getting some walking in as well. I sit down too much, and I've got to try my wedding dress on next week on Friday, and I'm a little bit nervous that I could have put weight on. So I need to get my butt moving. So I'm tempted to put a couple of the times on again, repeat them again, but with walking on the treadmill, which will force me to then have to pick up a book on audio, which I could do Thorns and Fire for if I'm still reading this tomorrow, which I reckon I will be. I don't think there's any chance of me finishing this today, but if I can make some good progress on it, that would be great. So that is my plan tomorrow. I think I need to gamify my reading. I need to make it fun. So I'm going to find a timer, I think, for now, maybe like 40 to 45 minutes with a 5-minute break. If I can find one of those on YouTube, that would be great, and that will keep me going. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I also wanted to mention as well, this just came in the post. I forgot I ordered this from Books Please. I literally went on US Amazon today to order a copy. So I've just had to rush back on to cancel it because I forgot that I'd already ordered it from Books Please. I couldn't find it in my email. So this is the US copy of A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangu Mandana. I have the Feraloot edition coming, but it won't come until I think between October and December, or October and November or something. And I've found out that the BK Borison event I'm going to at the end of October, on the 30th of October, Sangu Mandan is in conversation with her, so I wanted to have at least a copy to take with me. I have the US copy of the first one as well. I say the first one. I don't think they're necessarily a series, but the Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, I have a US copy of that as well, and then the Feraloot edition of that one as well. So I think I'm like, now that I'm excited about my reading again, this has come in and I'm so excited to read it. I just desperately want to read it. So I think what I might do is once I've finished Dream On, I might move on to this maybe. We'll see what happens with that. I did mention this morning as well, that 7-year itch. No, I didn't. That's the second one in the series. 9-month contract. I did mention that this morning, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm just very excited about having this in my hands now. I just really want to pick it up. I'm also tempted to reread The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches and tab it, so that I can take a tabbed book with me to get signed, you know? Maybe tab this one as well when I read it. So I want to reread The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches this fall, if I don't do it this week, this fall, I want to reread that and then read this one as well. I don't think I need to read the other one first before I pick this one up. I've already read it, but I do want to reread it, and I think I want to annotate them both. So I think they'll look really cute with annotations. And then I can take them both to be signed, because I think my Fairy Loot one is already signed, and I don't see the point in getting the Fairy Loot one personalised for Secret Society if I don't have my Fairy Loot one of this one by the time the event comes round. If I do, I might take those instead. We'll see. I don't even know if Sangu Mandana's doing signings. I assume she will be if BK Borison is. But yeah, so I'm very excited about that, because I suspected it would be Lucy Jane Ward, and I was like, well, I'm seeing her at the beginning of October. So my books will already be signed. But no, that would have been equally as exciting. It certainly would have. But I'm excited that it's a different author, you know? So Sangu Mandana, very excited about the fact that I get the opportunity to meet her as well as BK Borison. What an event. I'm stoked. So yeah, anywho, I'm going to get on with trying to make some more progress on Dream On. If I could get over the 50% mark before Andy gets home from work, that would be great. I managed to read 11% in an hour earlier. So if I manage that again now, that would be 45%. And then I would only need to read another 6% to get me to 51%, which is great. So, you know, and I've got several hours before Andy's even going to be thinking about being home. It's going to be like 8 o'clock before he's home. So I've got like 4 hours. So let's see what damage we can do, shall we? Let's go. Okay, good morning. It is Thursday and I've started patron sprints with my patrons, the zookeepers. My patrons are not zookeepers. My brain chaos mode has been activated today. I don't know what's going on with my ADHD. I am all over the place. Anyway, yesterday ended up being a raging success with my reading. I finished Dream On last night. Don't know what to tell you. 1:30 this morning I finished that book. It was fantastic. I gave it 5 stars, naturally. It was so good. I loved everything about it. I loved the messiness of the characters. I loved the way that Jennifer dealt with the trauma of everything, but specifically Lexington and his situation as a child actor in Hollywood and everything that came with that, the baggage that came with it. I loved to hate the asshole characters in this book. I loved the atmosphere. I loved the writing. I loved the nostalgia that Moulin Rouge being so heavily involved in this book gave me. It felt like home. It felt like a warm hug in some ways, because it, as I've mentioned multiple times in this vlog, Moulin Rouge is Andy's favourite movie of all time, so I have seen it a lot. And it did feel, I just recognised every single thing that they mentioned throughout the book about Moulin Rouge, and I just really love this book. It would have been a 5-star anyway, because I smashed my way through it the way I did. Overall, I started this book 10 days ago, and I got 13% in at that point, or 12% in at that point. I then, on Tuesday night, read another 11%. No, yeah, I was 12% in. Then I read another 11% and got myself to 23% in. And then yesterday, I read from 23% till the end. I just finished the book yesterday, and I had a full day at work yesterday. So I just couldn't stop. I didn't want to put it down. It was so good. I shed a couple of tears. I didn't sob like I thought I was going to, but I shed a couple of tears. It was really sad through some of it, and there were a lot of reveals that happened towards the end as well that I was really shook about, and I just really loved it. I thought it was fantastic. The things that Jennifer Hartman can do with a pen, a piece of paper and a computer are insane. Like, the talent that woman has. So yeah, really, really loved this book. I thought it was very, very good. Please, for the love of God, check your trigger warnings with this one. It is a little bit heavy, so just be careful with it. And it comes out on August 12th, so keep your eyes peeled for that one. So I did finish Dream On. Loved it. I'm so glad I picked that up. I don't know if my slump is completely cured, but that is the first book over, like, 200 pages that I finished. That book was like 450 pages. It was large. So it's the first book that I've finished of that size in 2 weeks. So doing pretty good. I know some people will be like, 2 weeks is not a slump. Listen, 2 weeks is a long time for me to not be finishing things that aren't manga or novellas. let me tell you. So anyway, I have made the decision to move on to A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangu Mandana. I told you yesterday this came in and I said I would probably think about moving on to this. I ummed and ahed this morning because we've activated chaos mode today with the sprints. I have decided to gamify my reading. Again, I think I mentioned this yesterday. We've got a spinner wheel going with times of 5-minute increments from 35 minutes up to 60 minutes, an hour, with swap your book 35 minutes as well. Just to mix things up a little bit, I've put them on the wheel twice and then I've shuffled the wheel, so nothing is in order. And yeah, we're going to do that today. So if I need to swap my book, this is going to be my main focus today. I've obviously not started it yet. I'm using this first sprint to get filming done that I need to get done today. But if I need to swap this, I'm either, one of two things is going to happen. My first intention will be to go back to this Thorns on Fire by Helen Scheurer, book 2 of the Ashes of Thesmar series, and try and get this finished as well. If that's not sticking, I will pick up another arc, and I'll be picking up Untamed Heart by Gemma Moore, which comes out on the 14th of August. It's a cowboy romance, so this should be easy to get through, and it's less than 250 pages, I think, as well. Yeah, 264 pages, so it's a shorty patooty as well. So those are going to be my swaps for today, which we've already had. The first sprint was swap, do a 35-minute sprint, but I wasn't reading anyway, so I'm just filming. We're just doing 35 minutes and I'm just filming in this sprint. So this one says, let me tell you about the synopsis: a whimsical and heartwarming novel about a witch who has a second chance to get her magical powers and her life back on track. Sarah Swan used to be one of the most powerful witches in Britain. Then she resurrected her great aunt Jasmine from the very recently dead, lost most of her magic, befriended a semi-villainous talking fox and was exiled from her guild. Now she, silently, reluctantly and just a bit grumpily, helps Jasmine run an enchanted inn in Lancashire, where she deals with her quirky guest shenanigans, tries to keep said talking fox in check, and longs for a future that seems lost to her. But then she finds out about an old spell that could hold the key to restoring her power. Enter Luke Larson, a handsome and icy magical historian who arrives on a dark autumn evening and just might know how to unlock the spell's secrets. Luke has absolutely no interest in getting involved in the madcap goings-on of the inn, and is definitely not about to let a certain bewitching innkeeper past his walls, so no one is more surprised than he is when he agrees to help Sarah with her spells. Worse, he might actually be Thorin. Running an inn, reclaiming lost magic and staying one step ahead of the watchful guild is a lot for anyone, but Sarah Swan is about to discover that she doesn't have to do it alone, and that the weird, wonderful family she's made might be the best magic of all. I love these books. They're so good, because although they have a sprinkle of magic in them, they are for the most part about like magic and found family and all that stuff, so I'm really excited for this one. I listened to the preview of this. It's the same narrator who did A Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. She's so good. But I listened to the preview. I didn't even finish the preview. I think I got a minute into the preview and was like, yep, that's what we're going to be listening to today. I was chuckling. So I'm very excited to give this one a read today. I'm going to tab as well, so I need to get my tabs together. I've already started pulling a couple together. I need to get those together, and then I'm going to tab this, I think, maybe annotate it. So yeah, I'm going to read this one today, I think. I was thinking about rereading The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches Struggles, but I think I'm going to read this one, and then I'll go back to that one at some point and annotate that as well. So that is my plan for today. Other than that, I don't have anything else going on. I do, as I say, have a bit of filming I need to do today, but other than that, free as a bird to read for the day. So that's what I'm going to do. Good morning. It is Saturday. I'm here to give you an update. I don't think I spoke with you yesterday. I can't remember. But I'm here to give you an update. Yesterday, what did I even do Friday? Oh, I did end up working all day Friday. Andy was so tired from 4 days in work. He does 12-hour shifts, so he was absolutely shattered, and he was like, listen, I'm doing nothing today, so you do what you gotta do. So I ended up like recording all of my books in a tracker. It took me forever to do, and it took up my whole day, and I felt like I'd made no progress and I'd done nothing, but at the same time, it was kind of a relief to be able to see it all.
So anyway, but update on reading. Yesterday I did manage to, not yesterday, on Thursday I did, yesterday in bed, actually. My days are a mess. Yesterday in bed, I did manage to finish A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangu Mandana. I loved this. It was so good. I haven't actually run it through Corpile yet, but I reckon it's gonna get at least 4.5 stars, if not 5. I just really enjoyed this. It was exactly what I needed, and I had a really good time with it. I loved the found family in this. I especially loved the found family in this, actually. There was a lot of discussion around the family you make, and I loved that. I loved the magic system in this. I loved just everything about it, even the sprinkle of romance. It was really, really cute. And I actually loved that the romance didn't overtake anything either. Like, there was a whole plot going on in the background with this. If the romance wasn't there, this story would have been just as good. So I kind of loved that. And I loved Sarah. I just thought she was fantastic. She was so sweet. And I really, really loved her. So yeah, I tabbed the shy out of this as well. So winner chicken dinner. I did manage to finish that, which is another book finished for this vlog, which I'm so glad about. I think that's 3 now, which is really nice. So yeah, I did also manage to start another book, Untamed Heart by Gemma Moore. I needed another physical read once I'd finished Dream On. I needed another physical read and I couldn't decide what to pick up. So I decided to pick this one up and give this one a try. I loved the first sentence in this book. Let me find it for you. So the first sentence was, it's 6:15 a.m. and I was sweating like a nun at a Magic Mike show. A first line will always get me. I did make it to page 22 in this, up to chapter 3. And then I did try and pick this one up again, but the words were just all very blurred and very jumbled, and I just couldn't figure out what was going on. I think I started this one on Thursday night, and then I tried picking it up again last night when I got into bed, but I don't think my head was in the right place for physically reading, so it was a bit of a struggle. There's no way I'm going to finish this one for the end of this vlog, but I just wanted to mention that I'd started it. So yeah, we'll see what happens, but today we are going into Blackpool. The air show is on. Blackpool Air Show. So we're going to go to the air show with Andy's mum. So you may see a few clips of the planes. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm a little bit anxious about it because I know it's going to be busy as hell. But at least the sun is shining. So we'll see how that goes. So yeah, just wanted to come on, let you know that I had in fact finished A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping. This was so good. It was so good. I had such a good time with it. Yay. So yeah, anyway, I'm going to go because we need to get a move on, and I will check back in with you later. Okay, hello. I'm here to wrap this vlog up. I think this week went well. I think it went okay considering the slump that I'm in. I know some people are probably looking at my reading thinking, yeah, but Steph, you're not in a slump because you're actually reading. Like, I've finished 5 books so far this month. It's currently Monday the 11th of August, and I have finished 5 books. However, the last 2 have been bigger. They have been actual novels. I've finished a manga. I have finished a short light novel. I have finished a 73-page novella. So I am finishing some stuff. It's just taking me a long time to do it. And for me, that
means I'm in a slump. Some people means they're not reading at all. And I am struggling with that a little bit. Like, there are days that go by where I just haven't looked at my Kindle, I haven't looked at a book, I haven't looked at my headphones, I'm just not reading at all. There is now a shelf on here in which books are going to, I'm worried books are going there to die. Getting part way through them, and instead of saying no, let's take the bookmark out of that and put it back on the shelf, we'll come back to it another time, I'm just leaving the bookmark in and putting it on there in the hopes that at some point I'll come back to it and remember where I'm up to. So we'll have to see how that goes and how many of those I actually come back to. Fingers crossed that I do, because I am enjoying, except for one, I don't know if it's me that's the problem or the book, but otherwise I'm enjoying all of the books that are on there. So I'm really hoping that at some point I do come back to them. Maybe I just need to be in a better headspace and be 100% confident I'm completely out of this slump. Like, I'm regularly picking books up, I'm regularly finishing books again. I can finish a couple of books in a day, usually. So until I get to that point, I'm not 100% out of this slump. Anyway, I think, considering all that considered, I think this week went pretty well. So I'm not completely out of the slump, but I think it's helped me somewhat. So what I actually finished this week, I did finish A Business Proposal Volume 9, which I did give 4.5 stars. I enjoyed this one. It was on my TBR for the prompt manga, so I'm glad that I've managed to get through this, because it was actually on my TBR. I don't know how well that TBR is actually going to go down this month, because I feel that mood reading may benefit me better, but we'll have to see how that goes. Maybe I swap some of the books out, some of the prompts out. But yeah, 4.5 stars for A Business Proposal Volume 9. Volume 10 should be on its way to me soon. Then I did finish Dream On by Jennifer Hartman, which I gave 5 stars. I absolutely loved this. It was fantastic. And I probably should be reaching for more of her books when I'm in this mood, and just reaching for them in general, because I forget just how much I enjoy her writing and her stories. So 5 stars for Dream On by Jennifer Hartman. That does come out on the 12th, which is the day before this video comes out, so it will be out now, so I would recommend checking it out. Check your trigger warnings. Then I did finish A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangu Mandana. This was a spur of the moment pickup. It came in, I picked it up, I finished it the next day. The quickest I've finished a book in well over 2.5 weeks, I would say, other than, you know, that wasn't a manga or a novella. And I loved this one, gave it 5 stars. This was fantastic. Loved the found family element to this one. I think Sangu Mandana does found family so well, because I remember it being done well in Witches, Very Secret Society of Regular Witches. I want to go back and reread that one as well. She's she's going to be at BK Borison's event in October when I go to that. So I'm going to take my American editions of these books and get them signed. I'm going to double check my Fairy Loot one, but if my Fairy Loot of this doesn't come, I don't know if I'll bother getting my Fairy Loot other one signed if it's not already, because I've tabbed and annotated this, and I'll do the same thing with Very Secret Society of Regular Witches, my US copy. So I'll probably just take these, I think. I don't even know if she'll be signing books. I assume she will if BK Borison is. So yeah, I'm going to take this one with me. So I'm glad that I've managed to get to this one, and it was so good. 5 stars, fantastic. And then the books that I got part way through and put down for one reason or another. Kill Switch by Penelope Douglas. I did get 118 pages through this one. It has gone on that shelf, essentially, for me to either pick up when I'm in a better mental space or to die. I'm hoping that I will pick this back up. I can pretty much guarantee that I will, but I was feeling very uncomfortable, and I do think, for me personally, that I wasn't in the right headspace for this at this moment in time. This is going to be incredibly dark. I know it is, and I know there's going to be a lot of conversations that make me uncomfortable, so I need to be in a better headspace for this one before I pick this back up again. So I have made the decision to protect my mental peace and not make my slump any worse and put that one back down, but I did start it. I got partway through. I also started Untamed Heart by Gemma Moore. I didn't get very far in this at all, but I did start it, and then I got to a point where
one evening, I just couldn't see words properly. Like, they were all over the page for me. Not very often that happens, but usually when that does happen, I'm tired. I wasn't even that tired. I ended up managing to finish the audiobook of, which is the Magical Innkeeping book. I managed to finish the audiobook of that off instead, and I still had an hour and 20 minutes of that. I just don't think I could physically read on my own. So yeah, 23 pages I got of this. I'm enjoying it so far, having a good time, hoping to come back to this pretty soon. The only reason I just didn't pick it back up at the time was that was the only reason, that I just couldn't see the words properly. They were all swimming across the page, which isn't a thing that happens to me very often. And then also Thorns on Fire by Helen Scheurer. Now, I didn't start this in this vlog. I started this last week. Was it last week? I can't remember when I started it. Maybe last week, maybe before last week, because I had an arc of it. It came out last week though. So I was already reading this, and I did continue on with it somewhat. I was reading this last night. I did sprints last night to wrap up Cliterature Readathon, and I made the decision to listen to this whilst playing some Monopoly on my Switch. I'm on the fence about whether or not to get the Tiny Bookshop game. It just seems, I don't spend a lot of money on games because I have a very bad habit of downloading something, smashing it for an absolutely annihilating it, doing nothing but playing this game, maybe listening to audiobooks while doing it, for like a week to 2 weeks, and then forgetting that my Switch exists for like 6 months. I do it every single time. So for me, unless I will spend a maximum of a tenner on a game, and it's like $17.99. So I'm on the fence about whether or not to get it. I've seen a few of my friends on Instagram playing it, so I'm going to see what some of the reviews say first. My friends always put it in my line of sight. So I'm going to see what she says after a couple of weeks, because she also has ADHD, and make a decision then whether or not to get it. See maybe if it comes down in price. So yeah, I have wanted to get that though. I wanted to get it and then play it while I was listening to this last night. But unfortunately, I just can't bring myself to pay $17.99 on something that I'm going to forget for like 70% of the year it even exists. Some people, it's $17.99 isn't a lot of money. It's not a ridiculous amount of money to me, but for me, for a game, like when Andy spends like £70 on a game, I'm like, what is wrong? Like, why? For what reason? Don't get me wrong, he annihilates the game for about 3 weeks, but then he does what I do. And it's not because he's got ADHD, he just can't be asked to make the time for it. So he gets really excited. He's better at completing games than I am, though. I never complete a game. Never. Anyway, got distracted. Thorns on Fire. I was already reading this and I wanted to make more progress on it. I kind of wanted to get as close as I could to finishing this. I could have just finished it this morning and then wrap it up in this vlog. I'm not close enough to do that. I managed to get to page 284, so I have this left to go. So I think this is going to try, like, be the first thing that I try and finish. Struggles. I think this is going to be the first thing that I finish in the upcoming vlog, of which I don't know what I'm doing with yet. But I think I started maybe at around a page, oh no, that was last night, page 165 last night. I was like 90 pages in maybe, or just over 100 pages in this week. So I've made some pretty good progress, I reckon, in this one this week. So I'm happy with that, because I have dipped in and out of it. There was on Tuesday I was doing sprints with patrons and I wanted to get on the walking pad, so I did a spin. We were doing chaos sprints with the spinner wheel to decide what time we were going to sprint for, and I pulled up 35 minutes. So I did 30 minutes on the walking pad listening to this, because I was reading A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping and didn't want to... Was I reading that? It wasn't Tuesday, it was Thursday. I lie, I was working Tuesday. It was Thursday, doesn't matter what day it was. But I was annotating that, so I couldn't be on the walking pad listening to that. So I whacked this on and did 30 minutes of this, and it was really good actually. I enjoyed doing that. So I might try and do that again this morning. So yeah, that was also something that I made progress in, which is great news, because then hopefully I can finish it this week. So that was my week. I think it went well. I had 2 5-star reads, a 4.5-star read, and then I
made some form of progress, started or made progress in 3 other books as well. So it didn't go too bad. I was really hoping to get to the favourites this week, but it's just not worked out, unfortunately. It is what it is. So yeah, I hope that your Cliterature has gone well. But I hope that it's gone better than mine, but mine went great considering the situation that I'm in. So yeah, I hope that yours went well. Let me know in the comments down below. Did you take part? What was your favourite read? Let me know. And I will see you in whatever comes next. Bye for now.